So in this session, we're going to be talking about vehicle maintenance files. So let's just get started. Okay, so we're going to be talking about, like I said, just mainly the paperwork side of things. So required paperwork, annual inspections, inspector qualifications, and expectations, what the DOT expects to see whenever they come in and do a compliance review. So the first thing they're going to talk to you about or be looking for is your annual inspections. So under 396.17, annual inspections is due within 365 days. So don't let it lapse. You know, it's 365 days or 12 months basically, and a lot of people think that there's a 30-day, you know, grace period. There really technically is no 30-day grace period, although a lot of times they won't nail you for it too hard if it's within that 30 days, just because the stickers, they actually, most people put the month and the year, they don't actually put the actual date. But the form itself actually has an actual date on it. So I would say make sure that it's done before the 365 days is up. State inspections, if your state is one of those that requires the inspection be done by the state itself, then you're going to have to do it that way. And I'm going to show you the list of different states that actually comply with federal regulations. So if these are one of the states, I know Texas is one, Oklahoma, you have to go to a certified facility or a state facility or one that's approved by them. It's basically the same thing. You don't have to have two separate ones. If you're in one of these states, you can just do the state one. You don't have to do both the state and the federal. So with that said, self-inspection is okay as long as the inspector is certified. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit, because you don't have to have like ASE certifications or some special kind of certifications, but I'm going to show you that in just a little bit of what the form looks like and how your mechanics can self-certify. Always keep a copy of the annual inspection report in the cab book. So a lot of people think, well, I'll just put the sticker on the side of the truck and it'll be fine. Well, things happen. You wash that truck a couple times and now the writing's gone off it. You can't read it. So if an officer can't read the writing, he's not going to accept it. So I always say keep a copy of the actual report as well as the sticker on the truck and a report inside the truck. And you have to have that for the truck and the trailer that you're actually pulling. Even if you're pulling doubles, you have to have both trailers and the dolly. So inspection is required on all trucks, trailers, and dollies. So if you're pulling doubles and you have that little dolly in between, you have to have an annual inspection on that dolly as well. So here's what it looks like. So this one right here, as we're looking at this is the annual inspection report. This comes from J.J. Keller. They actually have good products as far as their paper products go for some of their stuff. So this is a very simple one. Typically it's carbon copied, so you're going to get two copies, the original, and then you're going to get the carbon copy. This is something that comes from Texas. So whenever you go to a state certified facility, they're going to have their own document or own form, which is compliant with DOT regulations. Just make sure it actually says pass right there, because some states will just not give you a form, but other states will actually give you the form and it'll say fail. And obviously if it says fail, then it's not going to be any good. So this is typically what it looks like. When you buy this from J.J. Keller, it will have a sticker. Typically it will have the stickers with it. You purchase the form and the little stickers that kind of go together. The state of Texas doesn't have stickers for annual inspections. They just give you this form so that you can, you know, keep that in the cab book. So this is what it looks like. And I want to say on the back of those, in most cases, not all the time, so make sure that if you're going to order one, you're going to order one with the Appendix G on the back. The Appendix G is actually kind of a guide for your mechanics to say this is exactly what they're looking for. So I'm going to show you the website that I go to, or I had the mechanics go to if they want to print something off. But this is actually going to list exactly the diameters, what they have to be, outside diameters for brake readjustment limits, all of the stuff on here. So this is what has to pass. And if these things don't pass, if they don't understand what the Appendix G is and how it actually kind of affects how they do their annual inspection, then they shouldn't be doing annual inspections. So states like Texas, their inspectors have to be certified, as well as the facility that they go to has to be certified. So they actually go through this process. They have to test to, you know, do all this, but that doesn't mean that they're going to remember every single thing every time they do an inspection. But these are typically the things that they have to look at for sure in order for it to be a compliant DOT inspections. And have your mechanics, you know, If you do monthly inspections, which I highly recommend doing monthly inspections, weekly inspections, however often you can have your mechanic go and do a full-on inspection anytime they're doing PMs. So if they're doing a PM scheduled maintenance, like changing oil change or something like that, have them go through and actually do an annual inspection, even if it's not due, just because these are the things that they should be looking at. These are the things that are important to make sure that your vehicle's safe before you put it out on the road. So, but it's called the Appendix G, so make sure your mechanics understand what the Appendix G is and that that's how they're doing their inspections. So let's talk about the brake inspector qualifications. So what the document actually says, to self-certify, is capable of performing the assigned task for inspection by reason of experience, training, or both as follows. They might have went to some kind of school, whether it be federal, state, to learn how to be a mechanic or an inspector, brake inspector, typically a mechanic though. Or the thing that I see more often is that they have brake-related experience and training for at least 12 months. They've had at least 1 year of experience of doing this. For inspectors, for the annual inspectors, it's the same thing. Same exact thing. They don't have to go to a federal or state-sponsored training program, but they can, like the ASC certification program. Or they at least have to have a combination of training and or experience totaling at least 1 year, both the same kind of things. This is the documents they're going to be signing. So they need to be signing. If they're self-certifying, it's either going to be one of these or it's going to be this one right here, has a combination of training and experience totaling at least 1 year is following. And they're going to put how many years of experience they have working on trucks. They need to be able to self-certify, and if they don't, now then they're going to sign it, you're going to sign it. If they don't, you're not going to be in compliance. So make sure that all mechanics working on all your vehicles, and interestingly enough, even if you third-party all your maintenance out, you still have to have these. Go figure. So make sure even if you're third-party and stuff out, you have the inspector certifications or qualifications from the third party. So 396.3, inspection, repair, and maintenance. So in general, every motor carrier shall systematically inspect, repair, and maintain, or cause to be systematically inspected, repaired, and maintain all motor vehicles subject to its control. It does not matter if you have owner-operators and they own their own trucks, or if you're leasing that, whether it be on a short-term lease or on a long-term lease, it doesn't matter. If you are using it under your DOT authority, you need to treat it like you own it. So you are responsible for requiring all that repair and maintenance. So you have to have a maintenance schedule. So 396.3 is a maintenance schedule. This is a means to indicate the nature and due date of the various inspection and maintenance operations to be performed. So this is, what is my PM schedule? Whenever am I doing it? Every 3,000 miles, every 5,000 miles, every 300 hours? What is my schedule? And this needs to be documented. It needs to show, so like I have on here, this is one of the documents that I said, if you have this, the year, make, model, tire size, unit number inside the file, your maintenance schedule, this would be sufficient, instead of having that sticker on the outside of the date that you entered this, the type of inspection or repair, mileage, next due date, when it's due, if you're going to use mileage. So you don't have to fill out every single box. What you're going to do is you're going to fill out, so I'm going to change oil, and you're either going to do it based on mileage or based on due date. You don't have to have both. And then you're going to put inspection or service due, and you're going to write your notes about that. So whether it be an oil change, so here you're going to put an oil change, inspection, and or service due, and then you're going to put maybe a date here or something else here. So you can put different notes here. So this is your maintenance schedule. This has to be in your vehicle maintenance file. And here's a maintenance log. So with the maintenance log, a record of inspection, repairs, and maintenance indicating their date and nature. So on here, this is where they take exactly what happened roadside and they want to see it on this particular document. They use that to check your vehicle maintenance issues. They use it to check your driver hours of service issues, the drug and alcohol testing, whether to make sure that they actually were properly drug and alcohol tested before you let them start operating. They use that for almost everything. That is their baseline for everything. So if you just have a basic summary on your maintenance log, that's what they want to see. So far, we only have 3 documents required to be in your vehicle maintenance file. We have your annual inspection, we have your maintenance schedule, and your maintenance log. That's it. That's all that has to be in there, other than DVIRs, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. So if you wanted to go totally digital, we do have a software. We created DOT ready software for that purpose. It actually allows you to do all of your vehicle maintenance. It links directly to your SMS report, so all of this stuff, and it'll flag you and say, hey, there was an inspection on this date. You need to create a work order for that. So the record retention for these documents that are required is 18 months. That is what the retention record is, that you have to keep these at least 18 months. My recommendation is keeping everything for 3 years and after you get rid of that vehicle. If you look under 396.3, yes, the record retention for 396.3 is 18 months, but then there's other sections of the regulation book and the rules where it says you have to keep some other maintenance issues for 3 years after the vehicle leaves your control. So if you have a company policy that's very strict on what your record retention is and when you're going to toss stuff, and that's totally up to you. So let's talk about the 396.13, the driver vehicle inspection reports. But this one, we're just talking about the driver inspection. This is the pre-trip inspection. 396.13 is the pre-trip inspection. And it states, before driving a motor vehicle, the driver shall be satisfied the motor vehicle is in safe operating condition, review the last driver vehicle inspection report. So that is the guy who drove it before, his DVIR, even if it's the same guy, and sign the report if defects were found. 3 signatures are required on any DVIR whenever a defect has been found. 3, it's the driver who found it or who it was reported to, the mechanic who fixed it, and the next driver getting in the vehicle after that. All 3 of those have to sign that DVIR or it's not going to be compliant. It's not going to be compliant at all. And you're going to get nailed for it. So how the officers know or investigators know to look for specific DVIRs, like I said, is right here. They're going to say, let me see the DVIR for this date if it's within 90 days. Now, this is a sample DVIR. This is an example, that we created for one of our clients because they wanted to do 3 different inspections. They wanted to document all 3 inspections. So they had a pre-trip, they had a post-trip. Some of them use this as a required repairs. They would only check the box if repairs required, but they would still check that they checked all these things and then check this if something was wrong with it. And then other clients of ours use this as they wanted 3 inspections done a day. They would have a pre-trip, a midday, and a post-trip. Okay, so in 2014, I said the rule changed. So in December 18th of 2014, the rule changed, and now they still have to do the pre-trip inspection. They still have to do the post-trip inspection, but now they don't have to actually do that DVIR. They don't have to do that report unless defects were found or an investigator catches you. Anything that's on this SMS report, if it's within the last 90 days, you should have a DVIR for, with 3 signatures on it, listing at the very least all things that were found on this. So if the DOT were to come into your office, they're going to start a compliance review and they ask you for vehicle files, and they're looking at this particular vehicle right here. If this was all the same vehicle, you should at least have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was all the same vehicle, obviously this isn't all the same vehicle, but they're going to count how many DVRs you should have based on how many inspections with violations that were found. And that doesn't just mean out of service violations. That means any violation, any warning. If it's under vehicle maintenance right here, if it says vehicle maintenance, all 3 things right here should be listed on that DVIR. It doesn't matter that the driver didn't find it. It also doesn't matter that the driver may have fixed it right there in front of the officer. It was found, therefore it has to be reported on that DVIR. So 396.11, corrective action. Like I said, the driver has to sign it when defects were found. The mechanic has to sign it, saying that they fixed it, and then the next driver getting in the vehicle has to sign it, saying that they're validating, yes, the mechanic fixed it. They're doing their inspection, they're doing their pre-trip inspection, and validating, yes, the mechanic actually did fix everything in here. So just make sure any DVRs that you have, make sure that you look to see, first off, right off the bat, that's what the investigators look for first. Is there 3 signatures? And if they're not, you've already, gotten 1 violation right there. And then they look for the other stuff. So why are vehicle inspections important? Well, for these reasons right here. For one, they need to be checking their fluids because you don't want them breaking down. That's just going to cost you money. For 2, possible. I don't know that. Another reason is right here. I've had, I think, 3 companies now. No, just two that I actually knew. And their driver, for whatever reason, didn't do the walk around. And somebody got either seriously injured or killed. They don't have to do a full inspection, a 15-minute walk around, but they should at least do 1 walk around. 1 quick walk around. At that time, they can carry a rag with them. They can be wiping off their lights as they're walking around if it's raining outside or something like that, because to DOT, a dirty light is the same as no light. So if a driver were to take a rag and just do a quick walk around and wipe off the lights, if there's a lot of mud caked on them or something, and check for things, because it does happen. People do crazy things. There's people fall asleep under semi trucks because, it shelters them at nighttime. What they don't realize is that those trucks move. And if the drivers aren't doing their proper walk arounds and proper inspections, they're not going to see those people and they will run them over. So, but it happens and it's a shame. So I highly recommend that. Not to mention, this probably shouldn't have happened right here. It's just not good. And of course, you don't want to get put out of service. So you don't want anything bad to happen, of course. And another reason is you don't want to get put out of service. Your driver, once he gets put out of service, now you have to have a mechanic go out there. Now you have to have some truck go out there. They're going to charge you $150 an hour or $200 an hour, whatever they charge, to go out there, do roadside repairs, replace tires. It's way more expensive. Instead of spending $400 or $500 on a tire, now you're going to spend $800 or $900 on a tire because they had to take it out there on the road. So it's just best if the drivers are inspecting their vehicles properly, and then you're going to avoid a lot of that. So one thing I want to say about mechanics should have this book. Your mechanics, if they're working on your trucks, and I don't mean every single PM guy or at the very least, this book should be in your mechanic shop, period. It just should. It is a little expensive. You have to order it directly from Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. And every year it's replaced. I think it's about $70. It might be $45. I'm not sure how much it is, but this basically will tell the mechanics what is going to get the trucks put out of service. So what can wait and what is going to get a truck put out of service. So they need to shut it down so it just doesn't go out if it's an out of service violation. So I would say at the very least, and I don't sell these books, probably should though, but I don't, just go to CVSA, order the book, totally worth it. Have it in your shop so that your mechanics can be looking up stuff as they need to, instead of having to stop what they're doing, come in the office, or looking it up on their phone, because it's going to take forever to get, to find that information anyway. If they go to this site here, this right here, of course it's going to tell them too. So if they have this on their phone, that's great, fine and dandy, but it's not necessarily going to tell them what's put out of service. So is it out of service or is it just a violation? So these are the things that they need to know, and that's what this book is going to tell them. And it gives them a quick reference of what kind of things are going to get them put out of service or put your drivers out of service, because that's the worst. You don't want that. So with that said, I appreciate you watching this. I know you're busy. I know you have a lot of stuff you're already doing. So I'm trying to take all these classes and do all this stuff. I really appreciate it. So anyway, if you need to get in touch, if you want to contact us, go to dotreadinessgroup.com. You can email me at info@readyfordot.com. Of course, subscribe, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And then if you're interested in the software, if you're interested in going totally digital with your vehicle maintenance, it includes all the other stuff, the driver portion and everything else as well. But if you're interested in that, then go to dot-ready.com. and you can schedule a demo and kind of see exactly how it works, or just contact me and I'll send you a link and you can schedule a demo, and that'll be that. So thanks for watching.